Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Discuss Death Battle. I'm your only mate. With me, as always, Billy Bobby.
I'm here, soon to be transported on another spaceship full of monsters next week when I start my Dead Space 2 playthrough. Shameless plug.
And, of course, Shawnee Poo.
You're doing this too! Really?
Oh, God.
You both can go off. There, I'm censoring myself for mate. Happy?
I'm just glad I'm not recording it, because
Right.
now I can start doing the soundboard.
That's the caveat.
Alright, so anyway, Death Battle made it to Season 10. And yet, so many other shows didn't. How did that happen?
You just need a loyal fan base like ourselves to just stick by you to the end.
Yep, and like with every other season that we've covered, we're going to rank it. From least favorite to favorite, you guys have submitted me your own ranking, and I've given them a score of like between 1 and 16, and used the dark power of maths.
Okay, I have to ask, did you do the maths correctly this time? Are we going to have a repeat of last year? I'm just checking.
I'm more so curious of what happened to repeat of last year when it comes to certain episodes.
Yeah. I might as well make the disclaimer now for my case. I'm just going to be honest. I don't consider any episode this season, quote-unquote, bad. For me, an episode's bad.
Oh, no, why?
I consider an episode bad when it's like 4 out of 10. I will say, and there's one, when Mate ports out like my lowest ranking, I'm also going to put up the rating of like out of 10 I gave it, because even the lowest ranked episode this season, I gave a 7 out of 10. It was really hard this season.
I think all these episodes are really good, and any of these could be number one on anyone's list, honestly.
Yeah, like this season's been so divided, not in terms of, oh, people like it, oh, some hate it. No, because people have been having a hard time come up with their number one and stuff like that, and everything. There's just been a lot of good episodes. Like, I would dare say this is the best season of Death Battle ever. Like, next season's going to have a hard time topping it. At least in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah, so added up the scores and determined everything by golf rules. Of course, if an episode ties, should 2 people rank one episode higher, that episode ends up higher. Okay? Okay.
Sure.
Alright. Also, should we maybe not dwell on every episode for too long?
Yeah, I agree. Let's just go through it. I mean, this is your recording, so
Yeah, let's see what we can do.
Alright. Well, lads, are you ready?
no, I'm Billy.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
And people say I'm the smart ass. Okay,
say I'm
so
the funny
so at number 16, mine and Sean's number 15 and Bill's number 16, we have
Victory comes with no certain satisfaction. I may never know why we were made to fight, if violence is ever truly justified. But perhaps there is something worthy in the battle. Myria. Something beyond my understanding.
Okay, I kind of expected that.
honestly, so did I.
I'll be okay. I will say, like I said, this is still a 7 out of 10 from me. It was ranked lower just due to my. I was wanting Martian Manhunter Death Battle for nearly 8 years. And after 8 years of waiting, he got just a decent episode. That's not what I want. I didn't want a decent episode. I wanted a really good episode. I wanted like, yeah, Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. I mean, for me, what like drags this episode down a bit is just that not a lot happens in the fight. They mostly just fly around.
Yeah,
But
it kind of
stand
feels
by-
repetitive after a while.
I stand by that the moment Martian Manhunter turns into a dragon and slices that moon, that was sick.
Yeah, there was some
That's
good
fair.
moments. It's like there was a lot of really dragged out moments, but then there was there's a few really good moments. I will say, some portions of the analysis is what saved it for me, because they both really showed how deep these characters. They're not just typical, I'm a superhero that saved the day. They're actually very tragic characters. So I was at least happy that they didn't just treat Martian Manhunter as a doofus. They showed that, yeah, he's actually a pretty cool character.
Same can be said for Silver Surfer, honestly.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
my introduction to Silver Surfer. It's like, yeah, I saw him in the Fox movie, but as far as comic book goes, I always looked at those comics like, nah, they don't seem for me. But honestly, he's kind of Marvel's version of Martian Manhunter. It's still annoying because I remember when the last Lads Live, I said I really want to see Piccolo versus Martian Manhunter. Mate told me in chat that I don't think they're going to do that. I think they confirmed they're not going to, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. But then they showed this episode. I was like, you know what? Unique idea. I can go with this. But it just, after watching it, I just wish we got Piccolo instead.
I think another downside is that while the dialogue Silver Surfer gives during the death is fantastic,
Oh, it is.
it does feel like the death drags on way too long.
A little.
Yeah. I think Wiz
I mean, he's dying for a full minute.
and Boomsday were kind of inconsistent in this episode as well. Like, Wiz is a bit more cold-hearted this episode than usual, which I know is weird to say. And Boomstick's jokes did not land. Even in some of the worst episodes of Death Battle, at least Boomstick could at least make you chuckle. He was just boring in this. And I'm just like, how do you make Boomstick boring?
Yeah. Although, they have the best visual joke in this episode, which is the Death Storm mat.
True.
Okay, yeah, that was really funny.
If it's Jean Grey used the back entrance.
Yeah. I just don't really have much to say about it. I know, I've actually been surprised. I'm seeing a lot of people rank this pretty high up. I mean, I'm willing to admit, maybe because of my bias of wanting the previous episode more, and ultimately I didn't get it. Martian Manhunter also losing could play a role into it, so who knows, maybe this is secretly a 10 out of 10 S tier. But
I think while it was a cool philosophical style approach, there are moments it does drag on and not a lot of interest happens to hook people. Like as Meg was saying, like everyone got super hyped for Martian Manhunter turning into that dragon, but before that, everyone was just doing blank stares the whole time. I think that's all I can really say, honestly. It's just
Yeah,
scenes
same.
dragged out a little too long, and there's nothing to really grab my attention with it.
same.
Alright, so number 15, going from one Marvel vs. DC to another. Ranked at 13, 14, and 12 are on our individual lists. We have
You can't be afraid to think big.
The 14 was me. I have it as 14.
I have it as 12.
I have it as 13.
I think my issue is mostly just the analysis wasn't entertaining besides a couple edits in Ant-Man's, really.
I agree. I think the analysis is the weakest part of it. I remember when this episode first came out, I kind of said it was the worst premiere. I still stand by that. But I don't actually think... But I think I was kind of judging it a bit unfairly. It's like, okay, looking at this from just an episode, a fight analysis, I think it's a really good episode. And, hey, it featured Hank Pym. He's probably the most underrated Marvel character out there. And honestly,
That's true. I think that...
when I was listening to the soundtrack...
I think in a way...
Oh, sorry, Sean.
I was going to say, I think in a way, for some people, it also kind of hurts the episode, because when you think Ant-Man nowadays, you think Scott Lang.
True, he is
And
kind
when
of
you think,
the definitive
and
one.
when you...
Yeah. I mean, they
And when
did
you
bring him
think-
up in the episode.
They did. But when you bring up someone like Adam, a lot of people go to Ryan Choi. And when this was announced, a lot of people weren't exactly sure which ones they were going with.
Yeah.
So they went with the scientific ones.
It is really awkward because, like, Atom has started to get a bit more popular thanks to, I can't remember what that DC show was, but it featured him with, like, a few D-listers, but he got really popular and had a big fan base. And, of course, thanks to Injustice 2, he got featured as DLC. But, again, it wasn't the Atom that people wanted.
Yeah, I will say, though, to give it credit, it has, if not the best, one of the best deaths of the season.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most horrifying. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Also, I know we didn't really discuss it much in the Lads episode. Honestly, listening to the soundtrack on its own, it is actually a pretty good workout music. It does have, especially midway, it has that really heroic tension built into it. I remember watching a meme video of, like, I can't remember the name of his YouTuber, he does, like, what listening to the soundtrack Death Battle feels like, and they just showed this guy running across a field with the Ant-Man theme playing, and I was just like, you know, honestly, depending on context, this is amazing.
That's kind of what I do, like, say when I'm doing something a bit more mundane, or when I'm at work after the shop closes and I'm still doing stuff. I just put on, like, Death Battle music that, you know, makes me feel pumped.
Shout out to Hawk of Krypton, by the way. That's the channel you're thinking of.
But in all honesty, I think the episode's pretty good. Yeah, obviously, as far as premieres goes, I would say it's not as good as the previous ones, but as an episode on its own, I think it's pretty good. 8 out of 10 I gave it on my ranking.
Yeah, I think if the analysis was a little bit more engaging visually and joke-wise, I think I would have liked this a little bit more, but it's just
kind of
to say the least.
Kind of a small thing. That pun wasn't intended. A small thing I still love. I'm just watching the episode now on screen. I still love the ant that goes "Yas Queen" to Hank when Hank gives him the plan.
That was great.
They didn't. They could have easily just had the ant go, ew, but the fact they translate to "Yas Queen." Oh, that's amazing.
You ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah. Okay, so
14.
My 16, Sean's 7, and Bill's 13. We have
distance 35 meters, altitude 45, 40, now.
Oh, you made.
Okay, now Sean, if I will cheer you up, I've given this a 7.5 out of 10.
I guess we can let Made start since he had it at the lowest.
Honestly, it's kind of just a case of I just enjoy all the other episodes that little bit more.
He said it! He said it!
Yeah, and to be honest, the most memorable thing for me is just like the very end, that visual of Misaka catching the coin and laughing whilst Killua's blood is raining on her. Jesus!
Do you animate, bro?
Okay. Bill, you want to go?
Yeah, okay, so I had it at 13. Again, people don't... I'm probably going to be saying this a lot. I still think this is a really good episode. Again, really hard to rank this season. And here's the thing. I'm not familiar with these two. Yet for me to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10, whereas, like, previous episodes, like, for instance, Fulgor versus Sector, I'm familiar with these two. I love these two. I consider that episode just a 5 out of 10. So for me to rank an episode with two characters I'm not familiar with, and even from one of them's from a series I hated watching, only to be told by the viewers, oh, you watched the wrong series, you had to watch her spin-off because the main one's rubbish. I'm like, gee, that's good to know. But honestly, yeah, these two are really good characters, and I feel as though the fight really made them even more likable. You know, Killua showing his like assassin like style, but Misaka showing her like intelligence. It was really a battle of brains over brawns, and it was one of the few fights where brains won. And honestly, it got me into Railgun. I'm definitely gonna watch it at some point. And that's always something I've always wanted with Death Hour. They bring in characters I don't know. I'm always more excited for those because, holy crap, a series I'm not familiar with. This could be fun to learn about. And I get to learn about something and I go look it up and I get into it. Foreshadowing. Music's pretty good as well. I think what holds it back for me, analysis-wise, no memorable jokes, and I feel the editing was just kind of basic, if you know what I mean. Like, episodes later on get really flashy and really cool to look at, whereas this one kind of felt like a Season 5 type of edit. You know, they just a very simply edited episode and stuff like that. Not a bad episode at all, though. And I would still say I much prefer this over the other three, but there's still so many episodes in this season I really like. So it's just minor things, really, not nitpicks. Overall, I still think it's a fantastic episode.
Fair.
Originally, this episode was in my top 5. Fun fact. And I do agree with Bill that the analysis jokes just didn't kind of kept it out of top 5, but everything else I really quite enjoyed with it. I really liked how they did Killua's analysis. Misaka was fun to learn about, if not sped through a little bit, but then again, Speedy was her researcher, which kind of makes sense. Change of Heart's also a really good soundtrack, and the fight itself is really, really cool. All the visuals are really nice. From the giant freaking kaiju to the snake Killua can conjure up, to the death itself being brutal and having probably the best fake out of the season.
Yeah, it was really good.
A lot of people don't like this episode, and
I can agree with that.
Never understood. A lot of people, I think, don't like this episode, and I think that's a little exaggerated, mostly because it's not Killua's ideal opponent. But I
think they touched on that a little bit in the commentary, saying that a lot of Killua's opponents, he just gets slaughtered. Whereas with this one, he stood the best chance.
I was like someone else we know from a couple seasons ago, who was also an anime character.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not sure I really agree with that point. This once again, that we've talked about in the third topic, the inconsistency of their reasoning for opponent choices. Overall, though, I did enjoy learning about Misaka. I nearly said Mikasa. I was like, don't say it, Bill, don't say it.
I think overall this episode gets overlooked a lot and overhated a little bit. But I think it's a fun episode overall and a really cool 2D sprite fight.
All right, so number 13.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, so we have my number 8, Sean's number 10, 15.
A bit surprising, but I think I can understand why.
Right then. We're doing that rule where Lois goes first to explain their reasoning.
Apparently.
Okay, get it, Billy.
Right, so here's again, I've ranked this episode a 7 out of 10. So it's right next to 3 episodes, one of them Martian Manhunter vs. Silver Surfer, and another episode. When Mate reveals my number 14, it's going to be surprising. Or not surprising, just kind of humorous for a certain reason. Now, when this episode was announced, I was unaware that this was a highly requested fight. I thought this was one of those, that's actually a pretty unique idea, I can't wait to see what they do with it. Only to find out, no, this has been a highly requested fight for years. And as someone who's a bit of a Stitch fan, who's grown up with his cartoon, movies, dreading the live-action remake.
I forgot that was a thing. Thanks for the reminder.
Do you remember that that leaked image of it? I'm not sure if they're going with that design now after that got leaked. It was so awful.
I haven't seen it, and I don't want to.
I think I put it on the lads episode, so maybe you subconsciously removed it from your mind.
Or maybe there's an elixir I've been drinking that erases bad memories.
Is it called cider?
That's it. But yeah, so honestly, I was pretty excited for this. And also, just before this episode came out, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so it's like, I was still in
Great film.
I was still in that. It is an amazing film. So I'm still on that Guardians of the Galaxy hype. So it's like, what can be more fitting? And also, I don't know why, like, where I moved to, Stitch is kind of an unofficial mascot up here. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I've every those glass little antiques shops you might see in the UK or something like that.
Yeah.
They always have Stitch out in front. There's a plushie place which had Among Us characters. I was very tempted to get a blue one, but they're like 30 quid, and I was like, no. The next one was just a giant Stitch plushie, and I'm just like, what? And even kids around here just Stitch merchandise. I'm like, why is Stitch like a god around here? So I did find that kind of humorous. I've moved to a new area, Stitch is everywhere, suddenly he's on death power. It made me think I was in some sort of like upside down world.
The death battle curse struck again, specifically for you.
I know, right?
Nice.
The thing for this episode, analysis is brilliant, fight is kind of mediocre. Like, dialogue-wise, I love it. Like, Stitch going, "Don't Mia, what you say about my mother?" It's like, Rocket, you don't even have a mother. Why are you offended? And even like Stitch saying that very controversial alien line, and Rocket's nearly vomiting. He's like, "That's it. Need a bigger gun."
I love that's what got him to bust out his Thanos Buster.
Yeah. Those are my only highlights. Actually, no, the other thing that was tragic, Stitch killed his best friend. I think. I heard it somewhere.
That.
The ice cream man. Actually, do you know what? Oh, no, that's a third thing. You know what? I do like the fact they kept on that running gag, even though it really doesn't make sense. Like, why is this guy in space Hawaii?
Maybe it's his cousin who lives in space.
Maybe.
Watch him be the inspiration for the cabbage merchant.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was the original inspiration. There's your death battle, people. Mint Ice Cream Man versus Cabbage Man. Whose food can survive the longest?
I think I've actually seen people legitimately request the Cabbage Merchant versus Shopkeep from Ruby.
Oh, God. Alright, but
I say Shopkeep wins because he has more jobs.
Fair enough. Overall, I just felt as though the animation felt really slow. Like, even those when Stitch got up close to Rocket and they were having those little close comments. I don't know why. Like, despite him attacking with claws, Rocket, it's like he didn't have any momentum when he was here. Like, he just kept getting pushed over. Like, it's just weird. Like, there was a few humorous moments, but I think overall it was just an okay fight. But analysis-wise and everything that went into these characters made it kind of worth it. Especially with Stitch stealing the winner announcement at the end. So.
Oh, and that little laugh he had.
Yeah. More than I originally did. Going back to it. Mostly, again, for the analysis. I thought it was fantastic. While the close-range combat wasn't the best, I thought the long-range combat with Rocket was actually really well done. And the fact that we got, like, basically an MC Infinity War inspired sprite from Origin was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Bill, I am ashamed you didn't bring this up, but fucking Carlos played Rocket. How dare you?
Oh, yeah.
Carlos from Resident Evil was Rocket Raccoon.
I will admit that was kind of humorous to learn, especially after... God, wasn't there... yeah, I was playing Resident Evil 4's remake at the time, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah. I found it out during that lad session, by the way, like, because most people were like, "Oh, that's Captain America." I'm like, "Oh, he's done anything else?" And then Carlos pops up, and I'm like, "No fucking shot." Also, I really like the soundtrack and the music. Combining Hawaiian and Elvis Presley style music is really well made. I think they did a great job capturing the Elvis vibe.
Oh, for sure.
And just the way that death ends, it's just like, motherfuck, dead. Yeah, I thought it was great. And also, I learned that originally, Rocket was actually going to win, but
Oh yeah,
because
I
of
heard
the
about
anime,
this.
because of the anime, Stitch ended up winning.
Yeah, if it weren't for that 1 feat in the anime, Rocket would have won.
Yeah. Overall, I really like
Oh,
this
well.
episode quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, well.
I still really like that moment in the analysis where they're talking about Rocket's guns and Boomstick's like, hold on, this guy can tank attacks that can shake the multiverse and Rocket's guns can hurt him? I want one of those under my pillow. Like, yeah, don't mess with Rocket Raccoon's firepower. Also, I'm just really happy that the Raptor got this episode, because this is essentially his equivalent of Blake v. Mikasa for me.
Yeah, claps for the Raptor.
I was going to make a joke, but I was like, you know what, nah, I don't want to ruin the moment.
Alright, so, moving on to 12.
Oh, but you didn't give your opinion.
Oh, right.
He forgot to give his own opinion in his own video. What is going on?
Yeah, I just thought it was a super enjoyable episode. I like both characters. I really like watching the fight, the analysis. Yeah, it's just a good time overall. Just episodes came out that I liked more.
What's that the thing? You're moaning. You're the one that keeps saying it.
So what are we on? 12 technically, because we
Yes.
covered 4 episodes. Okay.
Okay, so, oh boy, appropriately, my number 12, Sean's number 4, and Bill's number 14.
Scott, Charles, everyone, give me strength! I am not the daughter of a demon. I am a daughter of Azarath. Azarath Metrion Symptom! I'm home.
Why do you two do this to me?
Again, though, Sean, I gave this episode a 7 out of 10. This is what I was talking about with 14. And yeah, it's just kind of funny my lowest ranked have Marvel characters in them. It wasn't intentional. I do like these episodes. I want to be clear.
And you're the comic book guy.
I guess at least it's nothing from my top 3 yet, but damn, guys.
Alright, so I guess I'll go again. Putting under pressure.
Under pressure.
Okay, so again, I don't think this episode's bad. If anything, I would say this is a much better Raven episode than the one she got before.
Oh, for sure.
And the thing that really surprised me, I was really going into this thinking, okay, Raven's back. And was it this episode or the one after? I'm trying to remember the order where certain episodes came out. We just had so many returning characters in a row that it was starting to feel. I've always made it clear I'm not a huge fan of returning death battle.
It was the second returning character in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I understand, there are certain characters who people are requesting, like, they didn't get a good episode, or maybe a lot has happened with them, there's, like, more unique ideas. I'm still not a fan of returning combatants, because, again, I've said it many times in the past, like, there's so many characters that I could think could go up against this character that deserve the episode. Now, I understand, I think Titans was coming out at that time, their final season, so it's like, that's a Raven series, so we gotta, do something for that. I'm not sure if anything was coming out for the X-Men, unless it was, a comic book.
I mean, they're still getting a cartoon at some point. Like, the 90s series is being brought back.
Yeah, do you know what? Whenever X-Men in this day and age get announced, oh, we're getting this, I never believe it until I see it. Like, how long? They still say we're getting the Gambit film. I'm just like, you are aware it's nearly been 20 years, guys.
Oh god, for so long I was just like, oh, just shut up and release the damn movie!
Yeah, so it's like, until I see something official, if you say, oh, this film's coming out, it's like, till I see a trailer for it, I don't buy it. With that said, though, yeah, there was a lot of things I liked about this episode. Of course, I'm certain there's a joke you guys want to bring up. That is amazing. It was the highlight for me. It was, Sean kind of already brought it up with Raven, and when we were doing the predictions, I was really surprised, because when this episode came out, people were immediately going to Jean Grey, because, yeah, she has the Phoenix Force in Death Battle for so many years. We're talking about how overpowered the Phoenix... Even though I'm not a huge X-Men fan, I know that the Phoenix Force is not something you mess with. And most people that do mess with it end up dead. Just ask Charles.
Oof.
It's been nearly 20 years. I can make that joke. He's come back.
Yeah, it's Marvel. He'll be back.
Yeah, whenever Xavier gets killed off, it's always surprisingly snappy with it. Okay, now that joke was too soon, and I am proud of it.
Uncool.
Just like that movie. No, I'm just joking. Multiverse Madness is actually pretty good. People are overhating it. But yeah, overall...
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah. But, that aside, though, I think it was surprising to realise, holy crap, Raven's actually crazy overhand. It was just exciting that they got to talk a bit of Trigon. It would just make me hope we can see him at some point, because Trigon's one of the most coolest villains in DC. Obviously he's no Darkseid. I will still say Darkseid's like my favourite overpowered villain. But just the fact that he will find look, we need to talk about Trigon. He is the baddest mother effer in all of DC. It's like, yeah, you don't mess with Trigon. In fact,
who would you put him up against, though?
Dormammu, I think Sean or you brought him up, which that sounds pretty awesome. But this is what I want to surprise you guys with. He actually, Trigon actually has a lower loss record than Doomsday. Think about that. The monster that killed Superman, he has a lowest lose record. I think that pretty much says his character. Overall, though, I really liked the episode. What holds it back for me? There's a certain animation moments that I do think look a bit off. But they're not bad. It was just more so like, oh, that was a weird choice and stuff like that. Jean Grey's actress, she stole the episode with her. She was great. Like, my final thing I'll say, so you guys can get your say, of course, this is Mate's video after all. Just when she gets cut in half and she starts screaming, but then it transfers into a psychotic laughter. Just like, bloody hell, give that lady an Oscar. Overall, yeah, it's a good episode. I'm going to steal a quote from Mate. There are just a lot of episodes I did like a bit better.
When is that going to be on a shirt?
That better be on a shirt someday, mate.
I don't think I'd make a very good one. As for me, well, kind of a lot of the same as what you just said. I wonder. Okay, there's an analysis joke I kind of want to say for Sean.
You can say it. It's fine.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. When they bring up how many times Jean has died, then just the GTA wasted sound, the bagpipes is just like, as of this recording, Jean has died again. Like that was too good.
A real Death Battle curse struck midway through production.
Right? I feel bad for laughing about that. but it's still funny.
You know it's bad when what's his name? Jason as Red Hood has died less in DC than Jean Grey has died in Marvel.
Oof.
No, for Jason it's more bash, bash, bash.
Oof, yeah.
Man, how many too soon jokes am I going to be making this episode?
I do like the visual of like the bird forms going at it. The X-Men theme in the soundtrack. Like, that was a neat reference. I think I heard there's like Titan stuff in the music too.
Yeah, there is. Pretty good.
Also, that final line from Raven's voice actor, specifically the last speech. I'm not a daughter of the demon, I am a daughter of Azarath. And the last Azarath Metreon Zinphos. Like, love that scene. Also the visual of her actually blowing out the fire. That was a neat way of ending it.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'll pass it to Sean.
So this was my favorite out of the Marvel vs. DC episodes we got. The analysis for both Phoenix was fantastic, as well as a really nice upgrade for Raven's analysis, especially when you compare it to her original one in Raven vs. Twilight. They made Azarath the main focus, as well as just going out into like the cosmos, which was really cool. And it felt so back and forth between these two. Like, you couldn't tell who had the edge until even when Jean turns into fire, you thought she would come back, and then Raven just blows it out like a candle, which is a poetic ending. I just love the way the birds were clashing, the powers clashed off each other, and just the way the forms looked in sprites was really well done. And I love that ending quote from Boomstick at the end of the analysis. Bringing in like Edgar Allan Poe as an ending quote was a really nice touch.
Yeah, that was good.
Episode gets overshadowed a bit because of the other episodes, but I think with its good analysis, a fun fight, a soundtrack that combines two childhood themes together, as well as just a really beautiful ending, I really like Phoenix vs. Raven, and I will agree this is the better Raven episode.
Yeah. And plus, let's be real here, who doesn't like seeing birds go at it? Damn it, my thing wasn't over the soundboard. Wait, mate, edit this in so I don't look stupid. Who am I kidding? You're not gonna edit. You're not gonna edit. You're gonna make me look stupid.
I mean, that was just recorded.
Mate, please make him look stupid.
God damn it. This is the pain when I'm not editing.
Well, anyway. Next up is number 11. And funny enough, I put this at 11.
Ooh.
Sean at 8 and Bill at 10.
Finally, I have won. I've seen the power bringer of chaos, yet by my vigor thou hast much need. Witness the last fate that awaits you thus, for almighty Galactus must now feed.
Okay, the season finale.
I put this the lowest, I guess, by a rule that... for one, finally...
That should be the theme of this season.
Yeah, just we finally get this episode. Oh, waited so long and assuming that this would be the season finale, and it finally happened.
People have been wanting this as the season finale, like, extremely, extremely so since season 8.
Oh no, people have been wanting this for the finale since season 2.
Well, I say that because it was the 10 years of Death Battle season specifically.
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, and I will say, just through the quality of animation, it was worth the wait. And just like the visual of like, Galactus backhanding the sun, or Unicron grabbing one, crushing it into a black hole. And like the whole back and forth with them like at the end. Also, God, the music was beautiful. That's pretty much most of what I have to say.
Okay, but you had it at the lowest. Is there something that weighed it down a bit?
I mean, mostly it was just kind of... it was just two dudes in space just punching each other.
So kind of similar to Martian Manhunter's Silver Surfer, kind of.
Yeah, but this was more exciting. And it had more going on.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
No, you had
yeah.
it next at 10.
Yeah, we had this pretty close together, honestly.
Yeah, so again, I will bring up, what's my rank for it? It's another 8 out of 10 for me. Have I mentioned an episode of an 8 out of 10 yet? Or is this my first one I've mentioned? Pretty sure this is my first one I've mentioned. It's 8. Yeah. No, Ant-Man vs. Atom, I remember now. Yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. Now, here's the thing. As much as I'm a big comic fan, I'm not much of a Galactus fan. Like, the idea of him is interesting. I've just not really read any comic books that really interested me in him. And of course, as much as I do say the Fox films of the Fantastic Four are underrated, I do agree in the majority that, man, that's meant to be the Devourer of Worlds, and that was his big on-screen debut. Just, no. Even in his, I'm not sure if you guys know this, in the animated Marvel series, he actually was an antagonist briefly for the Hulk. Yeah, in fact, people were surprised that there's an animated series following the Hulk from the animated universe. It's like, yeah, that existed.
Oh wait, that was Agents of Smash, wasn't it?
No, this is during like the 1990s Spider-Man, the retro Spider-Man.
Oh, that.
Yeah, there was Fantastic Four, the Avengers. No, not the Avengers. What was it? Spider-Woman, and yeah, Hulk was another animated series, and the X-Men, of course. Like, can't forget about them. But that was my introduction to him, and I don't really remember much about the episode, so sorry. As for Unicron, honestly, after researching him, I was really surprised at just how scary Unicron is in concept-wise. Obviously, I understand why people are hyped to this episode, and I do think it's kind of... they must have done this on purpose, where the season premiere this episode was guys that were tiny versus guys that... And then the finale for this season was ginormous guys. Like, that had to have been planned out.
It had to have been.
Yeah. But, soundtrack is pretty good. I would say this soundtrack is okay on its own, really. I think it sounds more epic when it's in the fight.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because I've listened to the soundtrack on its own, it's like, it's passable. It's just nothing on the same brand as like all the other music we've talked about so far, and especially ones we're definitely going to bring up for the future. I think the death is what was kind of lame to me, though. Like, it was. I really did think for a brief moment Unicron actually defeated Galactus, but as soon as Galactus comes tearing out of it, his like pocket dimension, I was like, "Oh, you're dead now." And then he just, I don't know, he gets his energy drained, and he does his equivalent of the Dark Souls noise. It's like, really? That's your death-defying scream? I think Proboscis
It's a giant robot. What more do you want from him?
Yeah, I mean, Proboscis did bring up something, and I think it was in our live stream, where he mentioned, honestly, given how Unicron is a very cold-hearted person, and how he died, he didn't really give that much of a scream. It's kind of in character. It's like, yeah, that's actually kind of true, really. Like, it does make sense. I think overall, it's still a great finale. I would, if I was to rank all the finales, this could be in like my top 5. It's just that compared to the other episodes this season, it's still a good episode, though. Again, I've given it an 8 out of 10.
Speaking of number 8, that's where I had it. I had it at number 8. I feel like visually, it is the most visually pleasing fight, honestly. The dialogue and philosophical quotes from both these characters was also really well done. I liked Galactus' analysis. It would have been higher, but I really wasn't invested into Unicron's analysis too much. I mean, okay, yeah, it's cool, and Jesus Christ, what are you doing? But nothing to really hook me on to be like, wow, so that's why people really like this character, and that's why he's a popular toy. I guess the way it ends, the ending of it also is a really nice fake out into just that ending visual of Galactus just holding what I assume is just the remains of a galaxy or the universe in his hand.
I think it's a galaxy.
Yeah, and it was just like, and thus Galactus must feed. Visually wise, that is really cool.
You know, I did see a pretty funny comment recently when I was rewatching for this ranking. Someone said, you know, given the fact these guys throw planets at each other, could you say this is our proper food fight death battle? And I was like, you know what? I guess you could say that.
Technically, yes.
Closest we'll get to a food fight, yeah.
Oh god.
What?
You know, that should be a
Visual
a joke ranking we do in the future, like best food fights we can think of, and we just add that onto it.
Right. I think overall, though, it's just visually, the fight is great. The soundtrack, while you can hear the lyrics during the fight on its own, it is very pretty. I just wish Unicron's analysis was a little bit better, otherwise it would have been higher. But that's all I can really say about this. Although finally we have it, and it was worth the goddamn wait.
Ah,
for sure.
God. Ah, damned when you see them.
Alright, so 45 minutes into this recording, we're finally getting to the top 10.
You're doing pretty good.
Alright, oh boy. My 14, Sean's 6, and Bill's 9.
Unlimited void. Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one.
You know, I don't hate where it landed. I can understand why a little bit from me. But go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Just truthfully, it kind of comes from just a lack of investment.
Yeah, that's what I figured, but it makes sense, especially since they're two technically newer shows, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I still enjoy the episode. Just, again, not as much as others.
I get you. It's just that if you had more investment in either Gojo or Makima, you might have liked it more.
Oh, for sure. No,
I can understand that. I can understand and respect that.
Yeah, and I do love Makima's no talking during the movie.
God damn, the voice actors who did Makima did phenomenal, but more on what I can praise his episode for later.
Yeah. Also, just how obnoxious Gojo was in the theater. Like, I heard his voice actor actually brought in like a straw and some water to record that slurp.
Yeah,
and, like, legitimately chewed on popcorn for that line.
And that's like some Rick and Morty type of level where the actor would actually drink beer to do Rick's burps. That is like that sort of level.
It's crazy that this is Gianni. You know, he went from freaking Shao Kahn to Gojo.
Yeah, it's always funny when you see like these really. It reminds me of the whole like Mario voice actor from Mario vs Sonic 2. Yet the Mario voice also done the Sephiroth voice. It's like,
and I've also realized Gianni is now on a winning streak.
for now.
Man turned it.
He's come a long way.
What's the lad's curse strike again? This season's the first one he loses.
Although, Bill, how dare you? But I kind of hope if Death Battle do bring in Duke Nukem, Gianna's been well known to do that, so I kind of hope they bring him in to do that if Duke ever gets in.
I remember when Ben posted the original plan for Death Battle, they were talking about doing Duke Nukem versus Master Chief.
Christ, if they ever bring Duke Nukem in, we're going to see some very, very outdated humor. That's all I'm saying, people.
Oh, I'm sure.
It'll be. To give you guys an idea at home, think of boomstick humor from season 1.
I'll tell you even worse than that.
Yeah. Anyway, one of you two want to take over? Bill, you had this at 9.
Right, and again, this is an episode that is also an 8 out of 10 for me. A kind of an opposite with Mate. First off, I like the fact that we got original character. No, because like I said, for Killua versus Misaka, I don't know these two, and if you saw my reaction, I was like, I don't know these two. Oh, this is going to be fun. I got to learn about Gojo, and he's a pretty cool character. I really like him. I've watched a lot of clips. Someone in my new workplace also knows a lot of him, and we were just talking about this episode recently.
And also, leading up before our discussion, Bill became so thirsty over Makima, which is fitting given her character.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just really want to go to her bakery. That is all.
Uh-huh.
But, okay, yeah. But here's the thing. As much as I thought she was hot, boy, I never thought I'd find a character worse than Homelander. How was that physically possible?
Japan!
Just to give you an idea, people, she's a nonce, a murderer, and a bit of a sociopath. In saying that, though, she's probably one of the most entertaining antagonists I've seen in anime, and the death battle, that little laugh she does when she puts the chain on Gojo's head, that is pretty cool. And kind of
There's also the
yeah, go
there's also the giggle when she starts doing the finger bangs.
Yeah, I was gonna bring on bang, bang, like she's really getting into it. It's like Jesus Christ. And again, similar to Jean Grey's actress, the death scream she has, like, holy crap. And the thing that's funny, from what I've seen of the Chainsaw Man, I don't want to give too many spoilers, of course, because a lot of things that I did kind of bring up, turns out the show never covered it, so I was like, oof, whoops. Sorry, mates. But apparently even when she dies and, when her powers activate, she never has like a death scream or anything like that. So people were really surprised and even shook when they heard Makima scream. And I was like, you know what? The moment Death Battle was making people like, damn, that's something I never thought I'd ever hear. It's pretty cool. If I really had to say what didn't do it for me, like the fight itself, mwah, chef kisses, it's beautiful, it's a masterpiece. Analysis-wise, was so boring. There's a few funny moments, but it's so boring. Like I said in my when we did the lads episode, obviously I was excited for these two because we did the lads discussion and I already got a good idea of these characters thanks to Sean and everything else. I think we had Purple on as a guest, or did we have him on when we reviewed it? It's been a while since we've done this.
We had him on when we reviewed it. He gave me notes for Gojo. Because we were doing a lads debate that session.
Yeah, so, it was cool learning about these. But of course, let's say we I'm talking about in a hypothetical scenario. Let's say we didn't do that. We never got all these info on these characters beforehand, and we just went by the episode. It does not really do well on trying to get people. And that's like actually Purple agreed with me. I really thought he would disagree with me, but even he said, yeah, if you really were looking to get into these characters, the Death Battle doesn't really do them justice. But upon saying that, though, the editing for the analysis was really well done. Like, they did little clever touches of, like, having their eyes glow in certain panels. So that's why I still give it, like, an 8 out of 10. Like, you could tell the people worked hard on this. I just think there were certain moments they didn't really dive into enough with it. And also, if people are going to get mad at me for spoiling things for Chainsaw Man, you should be mad at this Death Battle as well, because they spoil a lot for Makima. But overall, it's still a great episode. Like, the only bad thing is that I just thought some of the analysis was boring.
Again, just like with Mate's reasoning, it's understandable for that, honestly. As for myself, I have it as number 6 because this was really entertaining. Again, as Bill brought up, the editing and the analysis help with the analysis problems that I had a little bit. I think the editing kind of helps it a little bit. And plus, just explaining how Gojo's powers worked, I thought they handled it really well. Makima's analysis, Jesus Christ, Chainsaw Man is brutal. And just learning about Makima's ending.
Oh, yeah, that.
Man, that guy had the privilege of eating out Makima.
Jesus Christ, Billy!
What can I say? I just wanted a taste. Really, I should have had that when I the eating out joke. I'm now just realizing that.
Aye.
Anyway, Sean, continue.
I like the fight a lot as well. We got to see a reference to past Death Battle combatants from this season and a little bit from other seasons inside that movie theater. And they were watching Afro versus Jack, which led people to which is cool in 2 reasons. One, it hinted at, apparently they did that on purpose to hint at the animation style of the next episode. And they also did it because Gojo is voiced by Kaji Tang, and Kaji Tang has previously voiced Samurai Jack, and said he had a lot of fun doing that role. He loved working for Death Battle.
That's a neat reference.
I kind of hope he saw this episode at some point and just be like, hey, that's me! That's me again!
It's me watching me kill a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm watching me watch me kill a guy.
Okay, you're kind of ruining the joke now.
Makima's voice actress was phenomenal. I like Gianni as Gojo. I also like the soundtrack quite a lot. Have you guys listened to it on its own?
It's pretty good actually. There were some I did think had a better beat to it, but this one, listening on its own, it has some catchy tunes.
It was also neat. It was neat to finally get like a Werewolf commission track turned official.
I was about to go there. I had a feeling you wanted to say it first because you make the memes of them all the time.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of really like the post analysis. Like, they gave a really good explanation to why Gojo wins. And apparently, the Doll Devil stuff came up during production. Apparently, I think, or like a couple weeks before they did the research for this fight. So that's why it kind of felt like a surprise add-on. And also because Makima likes going to the theaters, they figured, well, she likes going to the theaters, let's have a movie transition. Overall, I really like Gojo versus Makima. Yeah, I like Gojo versus Makima quite a lot. And I hope at least people enjoyed Gojo as a character.
Alright. So, on to number 9?
I guess
so.
Okay. Funny enough, I had this at number 10. Sean put this at number 16. And, this is our first, it's Bill's runner-up.
Liberated from hell. Find peace in the next life.
Oh, that is actually kind of surprising. Mostly where Sean had it. Wait, was it Sean or mate?
Sean had it at 16.
It was the bottom. It was the bottom.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually kind of curious.
So, positive out of the way, I think Obito's analysis is really good. That's the biggest highlight I can give this episode. It's Obito's analysis. Everything else wasn't that great. Vader's analysis, I didn't feel invested, and then they kind of contradict themselves in the end result explaining because they gave up a faster speed feed for Vader, and then said, oh, they're even on speed. But I'm like, you brought up a speed feed that make Vader faster. How does that make sense?
What?
The whole picosecond thing is a lot faster than the light speed that they gave him in the end result.
I don't recall that.
I thought the explanation of why Vader won wasn't the best, basically, is what I'm saying.
Wait, why Vader won? He lost.
Why Vader lost wasn't the best explanation.
I strongly disagree.
The fight itself, the background on that fight, is still bugging me. It doesn't look good. Normally you can tell of a general idea of a location where they are. With here, I can't tell where we're fighting half the time.
Yeah, on a beach.
And then when you zoom out.
Oh no wonder Vader lost. He was surrounded by his worst nightmare.
Exactly.
Sand. And then when you zoom out after Obito goes 10 tails, I'm sorry, but that does not look good at all.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't find the fight visually pleasing. Going back to it.
That's surprising.
This could be because, it could be because, Source Filmmaker doesn't have a lot of good special effects and visual effects you can do. Whatever. The ending kind of dragged on for a little bit.
That I can agree with.
No, okay, I'm definitely going to strongly defend that later.
I think, yes, it can make sense, but it definitely felt way dragged out. Especially after Obito flies away, just did he win? Did he lose? I don't know.
Gee, he's leaving the battle. I wonder if he won. I don't know, guys. I'm thinking he won. He lost.
You never know, Vader. You never know. Vader could have pulled the lightsaber coming out Obito's face or something.
He is now a pancake. There is nothing of him coming back from that.
It's just, and also, I do think the soundtrack is okay with the fight. Shameful. I was really looking forward to this mostly because I really like Obito, and I do think they nailed Obito's analysis beautifully, and the voice acting's great. But everything else just felt not that great and not visually pleasing to me.
Shameful. Shameful.
All right. Well, I remember being super excited for this fight. Hell, I still have fond memories of going to RTX and watching the preview.
Yeah, the preview that got apparently was somehow in my video and it got taken down, even though it wasn't.
Yeah, and fun fact: the preview at RTX ended when Vader was condensing the Tail Beast bomb. It's right before it explodes, cut to black.
I kind of prefer the ending to the sneak peek, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember having fun. It was just oh, that's where they're ending it. Ooh. I felt like a bit of a smoke break during the build-up. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this episode. It was great to see Vader come back. Also, just a lot of the visual stuff they did with him, him walking out of the smoke or just pulling Obito towards the flames. They made Vader look super menacing in the animation. That's pretty much most of what I can really say, because I feel like Billy's going to bring up a lot of the other great points.
To be fair, this was his runner-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was I'm assuming that's your cue of ending your point there, mate?
Yeah. Also, I will say, when this episode came out, it was a contender for my number one. So that's how hard it was for me to decide the ranking.
It was my number one for a long time. Obviously, it's I think it's still at number 2 for me. Really good episode. And now, okay, so first of all, I'm a Star Wars and Naruto fan, so yeah, of course I'm going to be excited when this episode is announced. It's not a matchup I've really considered, but as soon as it was announced, I saw more people talk. Sorry, I choked on my saliva. Talk about it. It's I get the theme. I really do get the theme. Obviously, I did prefer Doctor Doom against him. It's one-sided, but name a Death Bar that hasn't been a one-sided.
According to a certain VTuber, every episode is.
He's an alright YouTuber. People are just overhating him. But anyway, so yeah, when there's, and to be honest, I was one of the few people that, yeah, I really did think Obito was going to win. He had a lot of things going for him, and sure, I really don't get the things you're bringing up, because I've literally just watched the episode now. They never bring up a speed feat where Vader is superior. They both, even when they show side by side, they both had similar speed. So, I don't know, maybe that's something that got brought up on Death Battle Cast or something like that. But on screen, I am seeing their even speed. But the other thing as well is like the contrast between this and Obi-Wan versus Kakashi. Like, Vader and Obito are so dark, but they also have much more different abilities that it made it more debatable than Obi-Wan versus Kakashi, because Obi-Wan, of course, he's more entwined with the Force, he has more abilities that he can use, whereas Vader is actually, this is surprising, people tend to think Vader is more powerful than Anakin. It's not the case. Vader is really restricted to use the Force. By using too much of it, it kills him. But of course there's the contrast, like chakra, Obito has an unlimited amount of it, and just so many things they do with the visual, like Vader throws his lightsaber and Obito just looks at it, just looks forward and gives him like the, you're really going to try that trick, and it just phases through him. Like, that was freaking sick. Like, Obito's at first staggered because his weapon got destroyed, but as soon as he sees the lightsaber, he's just like, alright, you're going to play this game, are you? Like, I love that. And, yeah, the fact as well, they both keep on getting damaged as the fight goes on. Like, when Vader crushes Obito's helmet, and it's... At first I thought that was Rey, and he was like, oh, what the fuck? It's like, who are you? I'm Rey Skywalker. The hell you aren't. But you know, upon thinking about it, I was like, oh no, that was Padme. Okay. But it is funny to think about. Like, it's like, oh god, that's my future. The other thing I really liked was, of course, their dialogue. Like, Obito, he senses Vader lost his humanity because. How he does the illusion thing, the illusion acts on its own, and Obito just goes with it. So when he sees Vader's looking upon his dead wife, and Vader goes, the power of the dark side, it is inedible. And of course, like, the big build-up when Obito uses the freaking 10 tails, and Vader all just goes, impressive. It's like, mate, you are looking at a giant monster firing a laser, and you just go, impressive.
That was badass.
And the freaking orchestra that played as he's holding the freaking beam with the Force. Like, come on. And Obito just going, no, this is inedible. And seriously, I had like the biggest nerd smile just watching them clash their weapons. As a kid, you've always imagined seeing like some sort of crossover. Seeing Vader fight some character from Naruto. To actually see that, yeah, it's not official, man, but oh, it's everything I imagined it would be. And, okay, now this is the bit I wanted to kind of criticise Sean on, saying that death dragged on. It really did not. It was perfectly executed. Like, Vader grabbing Obito and says, accept this gift and die. Obito, like, depressingly, if you know the reason Obito's the way he is, and he just goes, too late, as he smiles, activates the tree, and Vader just looks at it, and he's all... At first, he still has the Sith eyes, and this is a really cool detail that someone brought up in the comments, and I went to rewatch it. I had to watch this very slow, because it's a blink, and not even a blink, and you missed it. So when Vader sees Padme, just a little gesture, he's reaching for her, but then hesitates, because it's like he really wants it to be Padme, but he knows it's an illusion. Obito saying, you are liberated from hell, find peace in the next life. And if you slow it down, Vader's eyes are no longer Sith. It's Anakin's eyes looking upon it. So... Oh,
I don't think I ever noticed that.
Yeah, it's a really blinking you miss a deal, and that is so depressing. Because at that point, Vader's just done. He's just like, please. Like, he just wants to die. It's not the most brutal death, but just Vader's standing there and just embracing his end. Because, yeah, Vader is so suicidal in, like, the Legend comic books. It's really depressing. Like, he wants to kill Darth Sidious because he hates the fact he killed the Jedi for a selfish reason. He feels as though he can never be forgiven. And the fact Obito showed respect, he understood Vader's pain and essentially put him out of his misery. It's kind of like with Magneto versus Tetsuo, you know, when Magneto realized he had to put him out of his misery. That was kind of like that moment when Vader's just looking at Padme and you just see like the shaking in his hands as he wants it to be Padme. And, you know, just him embracing death and that last breath he takes before the death. It's not like Vader struggling, that's literally his... Like, he's just fully... like, he's waiting for the end. Like, that is so amazing. I love it. It's a really good episode. And, yeah, people, with how much I'm going into detail why this episode's great, makes you kind of wonder what's my number one. But if you are curious...
I mean, I know what it is.
Yeah, again, the smugness. I can literally see the grin on your face, even though I can't. But if people are curious, I kind of broke my rule here. I gave this episode an 11 out of 10.
It's true, he did.
Yeah. Is it cheating? Yes. I don't care.
There you go.
It's a fantastic episode and I love it.
Yeah, fair. And I know that feel.
So,
Okay, so, number 8?
We're getting into the top 8, baby!
Okay, so, this is my number 4, Sean's number 12, and Bill's number 11.
You will die by my hand! You fool! Sabatrilians must kill them all.
A bit higher than I thought it was gonna be.
I fucking love this episode.
there is a lot going for it.
There are some good things going for it. Like, I think the fight and voice acting is really good. It's just that I'm not familiar too much with either of these two because, first of all, Sean, no Dragon Ball. There's a classic line for you.
We're getting all the classic lads quotes.
And I didn't really know too much about Megatron, so I was kind of hoping, in a way, it would be like a Beerus analysis where I would get invested and think a character is really cool after it. I really didn't care too much for Frieza's analysis. As well as with Megatron's analysis, it just felt like at a certain point you felt like, yeah, no, this is where Frieza wins. Like, granted, you can be like, oh, if they brought in more from Megatron, he probably would have won, but that also would have broken a rule, which they had to specifically state in Megatron's analysis beforehand. I do think it was really cool seeing Black Frieza and Golden Frieza animated in the same episode. Because you knew they were going to go Golden. I don't think most people weren't sure if they were actually going to do Black Frieza because, you know, time constraints and budget and everything. But Devil Arts was like, I'm going to do it. And it was good. Final Formers is pretty solid as a soundtrack. And honestly, the best scene in that animation, I think May or Bill is going to touch on it later, it's just the transformation itself for Frieza.
Oh, the golden one?
Yes, that scene is the highlight of the animation, honestly. I just wish I cared about the characters after their analysis, honestly, because I'm still not big on either of them.
It's kind of how my reason for Gojo versus Makima, where if you're not too familiar with them, it doesn't do you justice on like what makes them iconic.
Speaking of, Bill, you had this one number above me.
Yeah, okay, like, this might sound like a hot take. I never was that invested in this idea. Don't get me wrong.
That's fair.
I see the theme of it, but it's one of those fights that doesn't really click with me. Not saying the characters are bad, but I guess where I'm more into giant robots fighting each other rather than a giant robot versus someone who's relatively smaller. So that could be what's ruining it for me. So, which could be a stupid reason, which I'm 100% behind.
I wonder if that means you're gonna dislike Carl versus Simone or something.
It's just one of those like. It's not the scale of characters I hate. I don't know. It's just like when you see two characters in the thumbnails for death battles, you need to look at that thumbnail and kind of think, oh, that looks actually kind of cool. Like Carnage versus Lucy. Oh, very sinister looking in the thumbnail. That's kind of cool. Spider-Man versus Batman. Seeing them do their heroic poses for the thumbnail. Whereas seeing the thumbnail for this, it really just doesn't click it for me. Again, though, the theme, I think, is the strong point of it. And overall, I thought the fight was really good. The death was kind of mediocre for me. You know, it's just Megatron. Like, the fake out was brilliant. However, I highly doubted once he went into Black Frieza, they were really gonna, like, just say, oh, yeah, no, he's dead. It's like, but you just brought out Black Frieza. So I kind of had a feeling.
Is it bad? Is it bad that if they did that, I would have thought it was funny?
It would have been kind of funny, but you could imagine people would have been pissed. Like, oh, you bring in, you bring in Black Frieza, but you just haven't been killed off instantly. You know, it would have rubbed people the wrong way. I do agree. I just think the death light is just Megatron sliced in half. Like, okay. One really good callback to Dragon Ball Z, like a contrast between Frieza versus Goku. But I don't know, just Megatron just looking at the energy blade like, duh. Like the destructo of this, it gets thrown at him, and yeah, Frieza's torso just floating there. It's just really dark. They try and make it look epic when he does this like big speech. Must kill them all. But it's like, I can't take you seriously when you are just a torso.
In Megatron's defense, he had no legs!
No, I'm talking about Frieza. I just meant like...
Yeah, it was just a torso and an arm.
Yeah. I meant like... But even like Megatron's death, like... I liked it. Yeah, I think Ethan, I think he does this thing where he like... It's like a parody to when Death Battle did that shirt with like the losers on them.
I still wish they did more of those.
Yeah, I think it's like copyright issues.
Fair.
There was like one shot he did for Megatron which shows like his head, like from his eyes, like cut in half. I'm just like, oh man, if we got a brief shot of that, like Megatron looks at the disc, and then you just see that quick shot of like it being, like his head floating up as it gets decapitated. Kind of like similar to what they've done with, I'm trying to remember.
Like when Boba Fett and Blake got their arms cut off.
Yeah, but there was a...
something like that, maybe?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Silver Samurai?
I'm trying to remember what episode it was. It was between like, was it Sub-Zero versus Glacier? There was like a shot where someone got impaled with like icicle shards, and there was like a brief shot where you see the slow-mo of the final impalement. I'm trying to remember what episode it was.
Oh, that was probably either Zuko, Todoroki, or
that was it.
Grey's
That was it. Yeah. That was the episode. It's been a long time since I've seen that episode actually. But yeah, on the final kill shot, you see the ice coming in, and then there's that slow-mo shot of one kind of being stabbed through the mouth. Like, I would have loved something like that. Like, there's just a brief slow-mo shot, seeing Megatron get decapitated. That would have saved it for me. Upon saying that, though, still an 8 out of 10 for me, and yeah, the music's pretty good. And yeah, Sean already talked about it. The voice is fantastic.
Dude, I'm a sucker for little Karibo.
We are.
Like, his Frieza is so good.
That explains why you had it in your top 5, just for him alone.
But I mean, it's also just like how cool the fight was. Like, Devil Artemis went hard for this. And like, throwing in all sorts of references to DBZ. Like, there are shots I can just be like, that is straight from the anime. And it is so cool that he worked that in. But I mean, also, I never knew about the whole Frieza being designed off of real estate speculators.
Yeah.
And looking back, that makes so much sense.
To be honest, I just always imagined he was just meant to be Space Hitler.
Well, that too.
So, Learn something new every day, I guess.
Yeah, the music, is so good. Like, whenever Brandon gets to do a fight that he already did a commission track for, chef's kiss. And yeah, just like how pretty Golden Frieza looked. And I don't care if people think it's silly. I love Tank Megatron launching himself into the sky.
Wait, people
to then
hate
like
that?
blast the energy pool. That is cool.
Wait, do people hate that?
Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
That was cool.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
It's like,
Like,
it's
since
just
when
him
can Megatron do that?
He's just being extra. He's just like, I could just fly out, but it's like, no, I'm gonna freaking fire myself at Frieza. Especially, did you ever see Dwayne and Jazz's reaction to that episode? They were laughing at that, and I love it.
I love that moment so much. And I love that they snuck in the 5 minutes thing.
Yeah. That should actually be praised. Megatron's screaming "My planet" in that rage. Yeah, that was actually really good. Like, you could really feel the anger in his voice.
Gotta love Tom Shulk, man.
Yeah. Oh, in terms of praising Megatron's dialogue, I love that whole "Behold the mighty Lord Frieza" speech.
Same. It's so good.
Like,
You and Proboscis.
that final speech is so good.
Eh.
And you can tell just how angry it's making Frieza too. It's like, you still have the nerve to talk down to me?
Honestly, and the fact that's what triggered him to go to Black Frieza. Not, oh, he's getting too powerful. This piece of shit. Honestly, I think Megatron wins in terms of the roasting competition. It's like, you know what? It's the equivalent of like, what was that team? Which character was it? It was like, he'll kill you. He'll just prove my point. Which character was that?
Tien.
Yeah, that's what it gave me of. That's the vibe it gave me of that scene. It's like, he could just kill you. It's like, I know, but I win.
I can see that.
Oh, I'd love someone to make fan art of that. It's just Megatron, like, smirking at the camera before he dies, like, in the grand scheme of things, though, I triggered him.
Yeah. And of course, just the anger in Frieza's voice at the whole Cybertronians must kill them all.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good Frieza.
Oh, thanks.
Lucky
Okay,
7
so-
time.
Yep, number 7. We passed the halfway point.
Oh.
And this was my number 2. Sean's number 13 and Bill's number 4.
It was worth a try. But still, I'm surprised you don't recognize your old home.
No. No!
Discord?
No. No! No, 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 no!
Oh, Bill.
No big deal. I've done this once already.
I'm not surprised it made it into the top 10.
I had a thing called sensory overload going back to this, which is not a good thing. Because it's just, there's too much going on. Which, yes, I know it makes sense for these characters, but sensory overload's kind of like a condition or status health-wise, where you can kind of feel sick.
Oh.
I believe
that
it's,
sucks.
I believe that's the meaning of it. Like, going back to it, I kind of felt that, because I was fine the first time I reacted to it, and I really liked it, but then, like, kind of getting, like, a little bit, not feeling great kind of hurts it a little bit, but I think it's also just, personal investment in Bill and Discord would have been nice, I guess.
Yeah, I get that.
I do think it is cool, like, the reason why they're fighting for two villains makes a lot of sense. It's just that one's trying to take over Equestria, one's kind of trying to save it. And while, yes, Bill won the episode, Discord to a lot of people won the war. I here's the thing, and the voice acting is really good. He was on for Silver Surfer, but the same guy who played Silver Surfer came to voice Discord.
They did a fantastic job.
Yeah. It's just if I didn't get overload of senses, I think I would have had this higher.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's actually a valid reason, to be honest.
Who had it next? Billy had it at 4?
Yep.
Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4, yeah. So, mate's number 2, so I guess, yeah, I'll go. To be honest, before the other episodes came out, I ranked this at, I think this was my, yeah, this was originally my 3rd one. And yes, so if you're wondering, yes, it is my number 4, but it's a 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good episode. First of all, for once, it was nice just to see Bill Cipher in a versus thing where he was in character. Like, you know, 1 Minute Melee did an episode years ago, which was, what was it again? It was Bill versus...
Wasn't that versus Sans?
I think it was, actually. I wasn't too into Undertale, so I didn't really know the character, so I just looked at him as just a random character. But one, he didn't really do much in terms of his powers, and even his dialogue just felt really weird. Like, that is not something Bill would say. It's like, oh, well, he's mocking Undertale. It's like, you know, on one hand, it's like, yeah, he's mocking, but that's not the Bill way of mocking. And people make him too goofy. Like, they need to do a balance. Like, Bill's meant to both be a bit goofy, but when he gets serious and angry, he's downright terrifying, just like in the show.
And in this episode.
Yep, that was kind of the main highlight. Now, of course, I got introduced to Discord, which I haven't watched My Little Pony, but I have watched a few montages on YouTube of Discord, and yeah, I can see the love for this character. There's like a moment where he got invited to Dungeons and Dragons and Spike's trying to explain the rules, and each time Discord's bored. At one point he's like, I'm listening, and he keeps explaining it, and then he's like stacking up cards. I'm listening. Then at a hair salon, and then he's sleeping in bed, he goes, listening. It's like, what a dick. I kind of respect that. And yeah, also in the fight, like we mentioned with Bill, like, you know, he's all goofy at first, like when Discord goes, Dear Princess Celestia, today Bill learned the meaning of friendship. Oh gosh, it gets hit in the eye. Ah, my eye! And he's so pissed off. He doesn't just like hit Discord, he grows another hand just to crush him. Like, how extra can you be?
I mean, how's destroying the desserts that you were buried in and spawning a drum set?
Oh yeah, you know, that's another point of
to do a to basically do this in response to Discord's pun.
Yeah, but that was actually a really good moment of showing Bill being scary. I was about to say squarey. He's definitely not a square. At least I don't think so. Yeah, like when Discord hits him and he's all, you know, doing the whole gag of, oh, I'm going to be funny. But then there's that brief moment when the music goes all like, I don't know what the word you use with, like high pitch. And then you hear him laugh like, and his eyes go like,
oh, the backwards bit.
Yeah. You know, there's a brief moment where he's going into his like sadistic mode, and I love that. I just also like the fact Discord wasn't taking the fight seriously at all, and I don't know why they both did this. They both grab each other, and there's them hitting each other, and it's just them playing with like the doll versions of them. I was like, wait, how did we get here?
I mean, they both shrug about it. It's just like, eh.
Oh, and again, the visual of Bill's eyes, like how much expression he gives with just his eyes alone are amazing. Like, again, in the 1 minute melee, you don't really get what Bill's feeling in that moment, aside when he gets hit, of course. But it's like a moment he gets another, like when he throws away the Discord doll, you look at him going like, ugh, like he's getting frustrated. But then when his mind's being taken over, there's that brief moment of, like freaking out. And of course, Yeah, the death when he realizes he's been trapped and his pupils like dilate or like shrink, and he's like, no. Like, I love that. Oh, sorry, choked on my drink.
Okay, that's twice you've choked.
I know, right?
Are you okay?
Yeah, that's just Bill going, talk about me more.
Oh god, Bill's possessing me. Oh yeah, the analysis. Bill possessing Wiz. Like, that was brilliant. Yeah, I don't want to go into it because Mate has his higher up. The other highlight is, Bill threatening Boomstick, like, let me out or I'll eat your dreams, and Boomstick does that hyper. Like, again, showing that sadistic side. That's what I love about Bill. He can be silly, but when he gets serious and scary, it's pretty intense, to say the least. Hell, I mean, the only reason he lost in the official show was because he got conned by a con man. Like, no one was powerful enough to stop him, so they had to trick him. Really,
yeah, via tunnel vision and, his view on us lowly humans.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I still love the fact how they showed Time Baby being killed and like, oh no, the Tandra Weather, oh how about this? It just vaporizes him because, again, it showed like, if he does go up against someone like Discord, he would take it seriously. 'Cause he's like, yeah, I don't want to die, so dead. Also, a nice little Rick and Morty reference because the character that Bill possessed in the clip they were talking about, he was voiced by Rick and Morty's original voice actor in the show.
I mean, there's also the pony versions of Rick and the Doctor that show up in the background.
Yeah, so foreshadowing.
You mean horse shadowing?
You're a horse. That doesn't even make any sense, but I'm going with it. And there's a Rick and Morty reference for people.
Or Rick and Morty later.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to talk about it later.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I don't want to go on for too long. Obviously, Mate has this higher, so Mate, take it away.
Dude, this episode was a love letter to the fan base. Like, I mean, first of all the different names that pop up when they're going through Bill's original name. Like, it's just all the different fans that they snuck in there. Me being one of them. Yay. Dude, this episode was just like so freaking good. How they both like pop up in the analysis and reveal that they were watching Death Battle the entire time. Like, in the background of every fight leading up to this, they were there. Like, that was insane. But God, the animation, this is just chaos incarnate, and I love it. Like, all the ridiculous stuff they were doing. Like, the hand-drawn Discord is straight out of the show for all we know. Like, you could tell me they got an MOP animator for that alone, and I would believe you.
Turns out, no, those are all hand-drawn from the ground up.
Yeah, which is nuts. When they go into like all the different styles, like from claymation to rubber hose to freaking soap puppets. And the visualization of just like the hand coming out of the Discord one and just do the finger snap back to the animation. Like with the kids screaming in the background. I love that moment so much. Just like all the visuals of like when Bill Cipher was getting mad inside his head and he like phased into like all these different like forms of himself. Like, holy hell. And, after he's trapped, just the way his eye just turns black and he stares at Discord, who's still laughing. Like, the rage in that expression. Also, mad props to Discord for just going out laughing. Like, I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah,
and it's so much better when, like, you look back at the animation and realize, like, Discord's going out of his way to save, like, all these other ponies. Like that's a detail I really like.
I think there was like a brief moment, like when Bill's trying to like hit him with a laser. Discord is saving the ponies that are in the air quickly.
Yeah.
So he's not only dodging attacks, he's quickly saving all the cameo ponies as well as the official ones.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Oh, but dude, this is like for me, like obviously it's like top 3. Like I had it on my number 2, like friggin' duh. Like, this episode was just so freaking good. But of course, there's just one that we'll get to later, which I just liked a bit more than it. So should we move on to number 6?
Yeah,
We
Let me out or I'll eat your dreams!